Tonight, auto mode is now the default in Claude Code, Docker sandboxes, disposable isolated sandboxes for AI agents. Tail call optimization in C is relatively recent. Meta's new open-weight model targets local agentic AI. Peer review is overwhelmed. Can it survive in the AI era? TechCrunch Mobility. Zoox prepares for launch in Uber's AV empire. Anthropic is turning Claude Code's auto mode on by default. Embattled hedge fund Situational Awareness invests $400 in chip startup Source Foundry. Google Play adds Venmo as a payment option. And Discovered Materials is playing AI whack-a-mole to hunt cooler chips. We start with auto mode is now the default in Claude Code. Auto mode is now the default in Claude Code. Auto mode is now the default in Claude Code for Pro, Max, and Team plans. Claude Code will soon run auto mode by default for Pro, Max, and Team plans, enabling longer-running autonomous work and catching more dangerous commands than manual review in our testing. We're making auto mode the default in Claude Code. Starting on August 14, new sessions on Pro, Max, and Team plans will run in auto mode. If you've already set a different default yourself, you may get a one-time prompt asking whether you want to switch to auto mode. If you have a pinned default, nothing changes for you. The auto mode classifier uses a small number of extra tokens per tool call, and we're no longer charging Claude Code users on Pro, Max, and Team plans for that classifier overhead, effective today. Auto mode remains opt-in for now on Claude Enterprise, the Claude API, Claude Platform on AWS, Amazon Bedrock, Google Cloud's Agent Platform, and Microsoft Foundry, giving admins time to review the change. In the coming month, working with our cloud partners, we plan to make it the default across all of these and no longer charge for classifier overhead. In the meantime, enterprise admins can make Claude Codes. Docker sandboxes, disposable isolated sandboxes for AI agents. Run AI agents safely in local sandboxes. Brew trust Docker tap and then brew install docker/tap/sbx sandboxes in action. Get started in seconds. Brew trust Docker tap and then brew install docker/tap/sbx. Give agents the autonomy they need to get work done safely. Need to enforce these controls across your whole team. That's Docker AI governance YOLO mode safely. Customizable safe execution network and file system controls you define. Micro VM isolation hard security boundary from the host. Fast to spin up, easy to tear down disposable by default. Faster than VMs. Agents can use Docker. 2 agents can spin up containers within sandboxes. Real dev environment install packages, run services, work unattended. One sandbox for all your coding agents. Claude Code, Gemini CLI, Copilot CLI, Codex, Cairo, Open Code. Works with leading coding agents. Common questions. What is a sandbox for AI coding agents? A sandbox is a micro VM isolated environment that protects your file system and network from agents running inside it. Which coding agents are supported? Out of the box, we support Claude Code, Gemini CLI, Copilot CLI, Codex, Open Code, Cairo. You can also create your own. What does YOLO mode mean, and is it S? Tail call optimization in C is relatively recent. Tail call optimization in C is relatively recent. Tail call optimization in C is relatively recent. Posted Aug 21, 2025-22. 11 UTC, Thur, by Anton, subscriber, 25,547. Parent article. Python, tail calls, and performance. Actually, tail calls in C have not been around forever. The C calling convention has been that the callee does not remove any stuff the caller has put on the stack. The caller could see the declaration int f. The actual call could have n0 arguments, and the actual function could have m less or equal to n parameters. That would not always work if the callee removed the arguments. So the caller had to remove the arguments between the call and the following return, turning the call into a non-tail call. When I looked in 1994 at the C compilers of the day, they did not perform tail call optimization for the kind of usage shown in the article. In 2001, Mark Probst implemented tail call optimization in GCC with a separate calling convention. He lists the limitations of the then-existing tail call optimization in GCC in section 6.4. Among them, it cannot handle indirect calls, which would have been used in tail calls for interpreter dispatch. I have not looked at the issue since then. GCC. Meta's new open-weight model targets local agentic AI. Introducing Muse Glimmer, an open agentic model that runs on your device today. We're introducing Muse Glimmer, the next model from Meta Superintelligence Labs, and open sourcing the model waits under a permissive Apache 2 license. Muse Glimmer is a 30 billion parameter model optimized for always-on local agent workflows. It's small enough to run on a Mac or PC with a single consumer GPU, enabling use cases that range from local agents and function calling to local coding and LLM as a judge evaluation. Muse Glimmer delivers strong performance on key agentic use cases and benchmarks compared with leading models in its size category. Foundation models have achieved remarkable capabilities across reasoning, code generation, and tool use, yet most deployments still depend on cloud infrastructure and network access. Running models locally enables you to use AI anywhere, anytime, with or without an internet connection. This is increasingly viable. The open-source community has shown that smaller models, when trained effectively, can approach frontier-level performance on targeted tasks. Muse Glimmer is optimized for these local use cases, keeping with our long tradition of sharing. Peer review is overwhelmed. Can it survive in the AI era? Jason Semprini was excited about his research on policies mandating that elementary school students receive the human papillomavirus vaccine. HPV causes most cases of cervical cancer, but counterintuitively, Semprini found that mandates don't do that much to reduce the overall rate of cervical cancer in a population. That's odd, but it's also not completely surprising. We know that mandating a vaccine can motivate some people to find ways to avoid it. Semprini wrote up the study and submitted the manuscript to a journal, where it was sent out for peer review, a long-standing process through which other researchers in the field assess the validity of research and make a recommendation on whether or not it should be published. This is usually done anonymously and on a volunteer basis. In this case, the reviewer did not share Semprini's excitement. That may have stemmed from a misunderstanding of the study's central message. The reviewer mistakenly thought Semprini was questioning whether the HPV vaccine itself prevents cervical cancer rather than studying the effectiveness of a policy meant to increase vaccination rates. "There's a very big difference there," said Semprini, who is a H. TechCrunch Mobility, Zoox prepares for launch in Uber's AV empire. Welcome back to TechCrunch Mobility, your hub for the future of transportation, and now more than ever the role AI is playing in it. To get this in your inbox, sign up here for free, just click TechCrunch Mobility. In just a few days, Amazon-owned Zoox will start charging for robotaxi rides. This might not seem like a big deal. The company's custom-built robotaxis are already giving rides to passengers in Las Vegas and San Francisco, after all. And it's opening up an early rider program in Miami and Austin, too. None of this matters in a business sense until the company can operate commercially. And now it can, starting August 10, thanks to an exemption issued by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA. Because Zoox vehicles lack many of the traditional controls required under federal law, such as a steering wheel and pedals, it needed an exemption from federal motor vehicle standards in order to operate. It had an exemption that allowed it to demonstrate the technology. This one allows Zoox to operate a fleet of up to 2,500 vehicles commercially for 2 years. The exemption is a win for Zoox, but it also paves the way for any other autonomous vehicle de ville. Anthropic is turning Claude Code's auto mode on by default. Programming with Claude Code will soon require even less human oversight, as Anthropic says it's making auto mode the default for Pro, Max, and Team accounts, starting on August 14. The company first unveiled a test version of auto mode in March, pitching it as a way to balance speed and control. As Anthropic explained in its announcement on Friday, when Claude Code is in auto mode, instead of presenting prompts asking for human approval at each step, it will proceed unless an action is determined to be irreversible, destructive, or aimed outside your environment. Anthropic also said that in testing, auto mode proved safer than manual review. In a study with 1,053 paid testers, auto mode caught 89% of harmful actions, while human review only caught 13.6%. Perhaps that's because manual review can become habitual. Users approve 97% of permission prompts in Claude Code. In a post on X, Claude Code head Boris Cherny said, "The team and I use auto mode exclusively and have been for many months. I couldn't imagine going back to permission prompts." The company also said it's been adding new safety features like prompt injection screening and customizable hard deny rules to prevent. Embattled hedge fund Situational Awareness invests $400 in chip startup Source Foundry. Situational Awareness may have had to sell off the majority of its public portfolio last month, but the AI-focused hedge fund is still making some big bets. This week, the fund invested $400 million into Source Foundry, a startup founded by Stanford researchers aiming to make chip manufacturing faster and cheaper, according to the Wall Street Journal. That brings its total investment in Source Foundry to $500 million. Situational Awareness was founded by Leopold Aschenbrenner, a former OpenAI researcher in his mid-20s who had no trading experience when he launched the fund in 2024. Early returns were reportedly strong, but the fund faced steep losses in recent months amidst the decline in AI infrastructure stocks. At the end of July, Situational Awareness sold off the majority of its public portfolio to Ken Griffin's Citadel, although the fund held on to its Anthropic shares. Its assets under management reportedly fell from $20 billion to $10 billion. On the bright side, Aschenbrenner didn't let those setbacks get in the way of his wedding. Google Play adds Venmo as a payment option. Google said that it is adding Venmo as a payment option today on Google Play for purchases including games, apps, add-ons, and other digital content. The company said that users can use Venmo's wallet or other linked payment methods, such as bank accounts and cards, to pay for subscriptions or tip creators within different content-based apps. Users can go to payment methods within their account settings to link a Venmo account. Google Play already offers other digital payment methods, including PayPal and Cash App, along with cards from American Express, Visa, MasterCard, Discover, and JCB in the United States. Outside the U.S., the company has also experimented with allowing users to pay for digital purchases using cash at a nearby store. People are spending more money on apps and games across the world. In 2025, user spend across iOS and Play Store was over $167 billion for in-app purchases, up 10.6% year-on-year, according to a report from analytics firm Sensor Tower. Discovered Materials is playing AI whack-a-mole to hunt cooler chips. Chips running AI workloads are too hot. That's one reason why data centers consume so much electricity and require cooling systems. And inevitably, entrepreneurs are turning to AI to solve the problem it created. Discovered Materials is the latest, with plans to use swarms of AI agents to find new materials that can be used to build more efficient integrated circuits. The startup said it recently closed a $9 million seed round from Lightspeed India Partners after emerging from Y Combinator, with investment from Peak XV Partners and angel investors Paul Graham, Gokul Rajaram, and Tharik Shihapar. Founders Advaith Sridhar and Akash Ramdas teamed up to launch the company, drawing on Ramdas' experience earning a doctorate in materials science from Stanford, and Sridhar's work on agents at Persona AI and Luma Labs. The two have created a software pipeline that uses Anthropic models in a custom harness to generate material leads, and then turns to foundational physics models they've trained to run simulations that verify if the candidate materials are actually of interest. Ramdas was doing maybe 20 guesses a day during his PhD, Sridhar told TechCrunch. We're able to do 1,000. That's all for this news briefing. Thanks for listening. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.